Hey, how you guys doing? I know it's been a few minutes since I did a video. Just been real busy trying to put in the gardens. And so I've had some questions on drip tubing and fertilizing and stuff like that. So I'm going to try and get those answered today and show you everything you need to install drip tubing. Alright, so the first thing you need is drip tubing. And what this does is this gets your drip tubing, converts it so that you can put a hose on it. And you take your drip tubing, and you just have to work it on there. So you wiggle, 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 and you get it on there. And then you move this up, except for I got it backwards. Alright, you move that up, and it's a reverse thread. Alright, and there you go. If you can get it up further, it's probably better, but I have no problems in my garden. I've been using this stuff for a few years. After you get your converter piece on, then you have to get a pressure reducer, and that will screw right into there. And then, oh, this is not a, I already used this one. There we go. Okay, so there's your pressure reducer. Now you could hook your hose right onto that, but it's not really recommended. So then you need a backflow preventer. There's a plastic one, here's a brass one. And that screws into your pressure, or your backflow preventer, screws into that. And what that does is that keeps your water from siphoning backwards out of your drip tubing and letting air in there. It's just better. So that way when you turn the water on, you don't have to push all the air out. And this stuff is just real simple and easy. This tool, I think I paid $18 for it, and it took me a few minutes to decide to buy it because it was so pricey. But it's worth every penny. It will take and cut your tubing off very straight. It's much better than trying to use a razor knife. And then it's got this handy little thing here. You line that up. Line that up on your tube, and that'll put a hole in there. Now you can use a 1-penny nail, but with that hole you can then put in an emitter, and you're all good. Or if you're going to put some 1/4-inch drip tube, and let's say this is your header, and you want to run 1/4-inch drip tube off of it, which I have a lot of because it has built-in 6-inch emitters, and you pop your hole, you put that piece on there. Actually, I do this the other way around. I put it on the hose first. This is just a little piece of, it's 6-inch emitter spacing, and it's 1/4-inch drip tube. This is actually an emitter here. And then you push that onto there, and you could have whatever, 50, 100 foot. Most of my rows are 50 foot of drip tubing, 1/4-inch. So there's two ways to get your drip tubing done. This particular piece is actually got drip tube emitters in it that are spaced at 18 inches, which is where I plant my peppers. Things like peppers, potatoes, flowers, herbs and spices, stuff like that. And this tube comes with the emitters already built into it. Whereas this black tube has no emitters into it. And you can use the black tube as a header, or you can run it along your vegetables and put emitters anywhere you want. I do this black tube in my tomatoes because I space my tomatoes out quite a bit. and then go through and put an emitter at each tomato. And I'll show you how that works in the garden. Something else, I use this Fox Farm Grow Big. It's a 644. It only takes 2 to 4 teaspoons per gallon of water. And then I'm going to try this year, buds and blooms. Once the tomatoes get flowers on them, I'll switch to using some of this. Now, you only fertilize every 2 weeks. Very light, you don't need a whole lot. And then I have these, and this is what I use to do the fertilizing with. And they have a bypass valve. This little red switch is one way is bypass, and the other way the water goes through here where your fertilizer is. Now, these come with this sprayer on them. Get this off without breaking it. I buy ones that you can remove the sprayer. I get this stuff, a lot of the stuff I get on Amazon. Now, a lot of drip tubing stuff is much cheaper if you get it at Menards. But sometimes Menards runs out of stuff. And so then I go to Amazon and usually pay a little bit more. It's not a whole lot. And get what I need off Amazon. So there you go. This comes off, and that will fit your garden hose. So you run your garden hose into this. Put your fertilizer in there. Follow the directions on how to feed, how much fertilizer to use. And then you could fit this right into here, or you could run a short hose from this to your drip tube fittings. Of course, you want your backflow preventer in there, and you're all set. Now I'll show you how this all works in the garden. They also have these 90s, they have T's. If the hose isn't long enough and you want to go longer in a straight run, you can just get one of these straight couplings. All very easy. You can buy these valves. If you want to water just one row at a time, or one type of vegetable at a time. My garden's very big, so I use them so I can get good water pressure, and I separate it into a couple different runs, and I'll show you how that works. Something else I'm going to show you is this stirrup hook. How this works. These things are nice. I use a cultivator in between my rows, but to get in between like my pepper plants, where I don't want to get the cultivator that close, I just use this stirrup hoe, and it cuts the weeds right below the ground, and it's easy, way easier than the hoe. The other thing I didn't show you is at the end of your run, you use these here on this 1/2 inch, or you can just bend these over and zip tie them. I do both. The 1/4 inch I always zip tie. I think for like $2 or $3. I don't know what they are now, but for you can buy a whole bag of zip ties at Harbor Freight. Anyways, that's what you do at the end of your runs, and that stops the water right there. Remember, you only got 25 pounds of pressure on this hose once you get in past your reducer. All right, hey, let's run out to the garden, and I'll show you the way we did this. All right, there's my fertilizing canister, and that runs through this green hose here. I've got a drip tube emitter, I've got the pressure reducer, and then I've got the transition piece. Now the transition piece has a screen in it, which you want so that you keep little bits and pieces out of your tubes, because otherwise they could plug your emitters. And then I have 2 different sections out here. So I've got the valves in place, and then right here, there's a 1/4 inch drip tube with 6-inch emitters that I'm using to water my onions. And then here is a 1/2-inch strip tubing that has 18-inch emitters for watering my peppers. Like that there. You can see I've got her turned on. She's dripping, it's working. So what I did was I took just a black hose, no emitters, and I run it down here, put a 90 in it, and that runs straight down to the tomatoes. Let's go see them. So I don't have my section with the tomatoes on it turned on right now. I've got the section with the peppers turned on, but right there is an emitter that I put in close to my tomato plant. And then my tomato plants are 6 foot by 4.5 foot spacing. So that way I just a blank tube and put the emitters where I want them. So down here at the corn, I just got the 1/4-inch tube with 6-inch spacing emitters. And that'll water my corn this summer. Alright, so I used a cultivator, a gas-powered cultivator in between the rows. So now in between my plants, I'm going to use the stirrup hoe. And this thing is real easy. You can go forwards or backwards. It cuts the weeds off right under. Look at that. That's done. How easy is that, huh? Come right past them. There you go. You can get in there precise, fast, easy. I mean, I just did 2 peppers in like seconds. All right, get her done, people. Hey, that's all we got for this video. I hope you learned something. I hope it was helpful. I think the horses are getting a little hangry. So what do we say at feeding time? Hooty-hoo! Hooty-hoo!